Okay, picture your nightly routine. You've just settled into bed, right? You turn off the light and literally right on cue, you feel that familiar weight near your legs or maybe plop right on your chest. Yep, your cat has joined you. But honestly, how many times have you looked at them in the dark and wondered, wait, do you actually want to be here with me or am I just a giant convenient heating pad? Well, let's dive into this explainer and decode what your cat is actually doing every single night.
You know, it's so incredibly easy to just write this whole nightly visit off as simple biology. Most of us default straight to what we call the warmth theory. And hey, on the surface, a soft bed and human body heat, that makes total, perfect biological sense for a small animal. It's practical, right? But as we're going to see, that explanation barely even scratches the surface of the reality happening in the dark.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how quickly that whole warmth myth completely falls apart when you look at your actual living space. Think about it. Your cat has access to sunny windowsills, cozy radiators, blankets on the couch, and probably a random pile of laundry you left on the floor. If warmth and comfort were literally all she wanted, she has objectively better options. She could pick spots that are way quieter, perfectly safe, and, crucially, spots that don't unpredictably twitch, snore, or accidentally elbow her in the ribs at 3 a.m. But no, she keeps choosing you anyway.
Part 1. The biology of vulnerability. Sleep as a survival risk. So to really get why your cat chooses you, we actually need to shift our perspective back millions of years into evolutionary biology. Because for any animal with natural predators in the wild, and cats absolutely fall into that category, going to sleep is an incredibly dangerous biological necessity. Sleep really is the moment of maximum vulnerability. I mean, think about what sleep means. Your senses practically switch off, and your reaction time literally drops to near zero. You can't run and you can't fight back. A cat's million-year-old survival instincts are hardwired, practically screaming at them to go find a hidden, enclosed space, under a bed, behind a cabinet, somewhere dark where no threat could ever possibly reach them.
Which makes this next point absolutely mind-blowing. When your cat actively bypasses all those perfectly safe, hidden spots to come sleep right out in the open next to an enormous, noisy, unpredictable human, guys, that is not a comfort decision. That is a profound, ultimate act of deep biological trust. Without saying a single word, she's telling you that you are the absolute safest place in her entire world.
Part 2. The chemical loop. Neuroscience of the feline-human bond. Because honestly, trust alone doesn't explain the whole picture here. There is some extraordinary hidden brain chemistry happening in real time when you two share that physical space.
You've probably heard of oxytocin. People always call it the bonding hormone, right? But that label really undersells what it actually does. Oxytocin is the fundamental chemical signal your nervous system uses to literally say, "This is someone I belong with." And researchers have discovered something amazing. When your cat comes up and initiates contact with you, oxytocin levels spike. But not just in her. They rise in you too, simultaneously. And this brilliantly illustrates what happens next. It creates this amazing, self-reinforcing chemical loop every single night. The cat initiates contact, which triggers the oxytocin rise in both of you, and because of that amazing chemical reward, your cat actually seeks out even more contact, which in turn makes you feel warmer, more welcoming, and more bonded. It's this invisible cycle just constantly deepening your mutual trust night after night.
But wait, it gets even more physical than that. When your cat is lying next to you, she's usually doing something else, right? She's vibrating. Domestic cats purr at a highly specific frequency, precisely between 25 and 50 hertz. And when we actually look at the physics of that purr, that frequency range overlaps exactly with frequencies studied extensively in therapeutic medicine. It's true. Studies on felid species actually show that this 25 to 50 hertz range is basically the optimal zone for biological repair. We're talking promoting bone density, reducing inflammation, even accelerating tissue healing. So think about this. While you were just lying there sleeping, your cat is quite literally running a low-frequency biological healing mechanism right against your body. How cool is that? Part 3. The psychology of attachment. You are the secure base. Now, let's pivot to this groundbreaking 2019 study out of Oregon State University. This study quietly completely rewrote decades of assumptions we had about feline independence.
So for years, the standard scientific assumption was basically that cats were fiercely independent, pretty indifferent, and, just sort of merely tolerant of humans. Well, researchers decided to really put this to the test. They used something called the Ainsworth Strange Situation Procedure. Now, normally, this is a behavioral test strictly reserved for human infants. You put them in an unfamiliar room, the caregiver leaves for a couple of minutes, and then returns. The researchers wanted to see exactly how cats would respond to that reunion with their owners.
And the data they got back is absolutely striking. When they were reunited with their owners, about 65% of the cats showed what developmental psychologists call secure attachment, meaning they calmed down faster and started exploring the room way more confidently once their person came back. But here is the truly mind-blowing part. That 65%? That is the exact same proportion of secure attachment we find in human toddlers. No way. Right?
So the crucial point is this. When your little furball wanders into your bedroom at night, she's not just hunting down the nearest warm body. In a house filled with weird, unpredictable shadows, shifting noises, and random drafts, you are the single most reliable, navigable anchor in her environment. You are literally the fixed point on her internal map.
Part 4. The Night Shift Guard, Watching Over the Pack. Okay, this brings us to a secret nighttime behavior. Almost no cat owner ever notices this, but once you know about it, it completely reframes your cat's nightly visits.
Let's compare how we rest with how they rest. Human sleep, it's deep, it's continuous, and our senses pretty much just switch off. But cats are crepuscular. Their sleep architecture is built on frequent, light cycles, and crucially, their hearing and sense of smell stay partially active, even when they're getting deeper rest. Simply put, biologically, they are designed to never, ever fully switch off. And what researchers have found is that bonded cats don't just passively sleep next to you. They are actively monitoring you while you're vulnerable. They actually track your breathing patterns, they respond when your body temperature shifts, and they'll physically reposition themselves if your sleep state changes. Believe it or not, this is an inherited behavior from multi-cat households, where bonded groups basically run a loose watch rotation while the others sleep.
When you put all this together, you hit this really profound realization. When your cat moves up onto your chest because you're tossing and turning, or plants herself right between you and the bedroom door, she is actively guarding you. She's extended her ancestral feline watch rotation system to include you. She isn't just sharing your space, she is watching over it. Because to her, you are part of her trusted group.
So the next time you wake up at 2 a.m. with your cat practically glued to your legs, just remember the science. She deliberately walked past every single easier, safer, and quieter spot in your house just to be your secure base, your personal low-frequency healer, and your loyal night guard. Which really leaves us with just one thought to consider as you turn off the lights tonight. Who is your cat protecting?